There we are. Happy Flag Day in the USA. This is Debra Cohen from DebraCohenMusic.com sharing a little bit about Israel, the silver trumpets, which I read in the Torah this week, something that I don't see manifesting itself in most synagogues today. Just wondering why. So we're going to talk a little bit about silver trumpets and a little bit about Flag Day USA. If this interests you, oh yes, and don't forget, I am in a competition to try to win the spot at the Global Citizen Festival in NYC this fall 2025. There's only going to be one indie artist winner, and that is the one with the most votes. And guess what? You can vote daily for free. Just go to tophitmaker.org/2025/Debra, Debra-Cohen, Cohen. I will be very grateful if you would vote daily. Just makes a note in your calendar. It's really important to me, okay? All kidding aside and funsy onesie, it's for a good cause to stomp out extreme hunger in the world. If you're not familiar with the mission of Global Citizen Festival, check it out. And also, yes, I get a cash prize, so I could update my computer in my recording studio because I'm working on an iMac 2013. And yes, it does buffer. So I do need to upgrade my recording studio. So this would be plus in the song that I'm singing that I wrote, it's called Catfisher. It's about being duped. Yeah, I admit it. I was gullible. I didn't know there were fake celebrities online. And some guy said he was Robert Plant, and come on, most people my age would jump at the chance to receive a video call from Robert Plant. And I even saw him in my camera talking to me, and I'm like, ooh. I was trying to record it so people wouldn't believe me if Robert Plant was talking to me. Ooh, but anyway, the lyrics tell you what really happened, so look for Catfisher. You can find it at my website, DebraCohenMusic.com. But I'm going to dedicate this song to Robert Plant if I were so blessed to win first prize, and thank him because the theme song as a senior in high school was, what do you think it was, in 73? Da 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 da. Oh, okay. That's kind of giving you a clue. If you don't know what that song is, then you weren't born then. But you can still listen to the music. And I want to thank Robert Plant on the stage in Global Citizen Festival, singing this song dedicated to Robert Plant. The only way that's going to happen is if I get the most votes. So please vote for me every day. tophitmaker.org/2025/Debra-Cohen. Stick around, and I'll be right back after this brief message. If I can find it without my glasses, that is.
You pretend to be someone I want to see, and you're using somebody else's name, not yours. And you tell me God sent you on my way, and you want me to believe that you are Percy. Lord have mercy. You talking so smooth, want me falling for the line.
I would like to share with you an article called The Silver Trumpets Promise. And we're talking about a time where Israel is at war with Iran and the Houthis, and their friendly neighbors, the Palestinians, who took a chunk of oceanfront land in Gaza in exchange for the promise of peace. And we see what's happening. Not only are the Israelis getting blamed for the current situation in Gaza, even though Hamas started the war, but for some reason, a lot of the world thinks that Israel is responsible to feed the very people that attacked them. Now, I'd like you to put in the chat where you have read about a war that was started by, we'll say, the enemy, because that's the way history books are written. A war with the USA that was started by an enemy country, and let's say Iran. And so the whole world expects the USA in this war to feed the Iranians who started the war. Have you ever read about that in the history books? I don't think so. So why all of a sudden is it the responsibility of the Jews to feed these Palestinians whose leaders are Hamas, the ones who attacked the Israelis on October 7th, 2023? I can't figure out the logic. Okay, so this article is written by Rabbi Aryeh Kaltman. Thank you, Aryeh, in Chabad Columbus. This time, Iranian leaders are reportedly huddled in underground bunkers, calculating their response to Israeli airstrikes. This article is dated June 13, 2025, and you can find the article in a publication called JNS. People around the world held their collective breath as Israeli Air Force jets streaked across Middle Eastern skies, targeting Iranian nuclear facilities. Without international approval, the Jewish state hit at the heart of an existential threat, alone as it has so many times before. This time, Iranian leaders are reportedly huddled in underground bunkers. How does it feel? Calculating their response to Israeli airstrikes. As Jewish mothers in Tel Aviv sing lullabies in bomb shelters, diaspora Jews are refreshing news feeds with trembling fingers. While many are scared and anxious as war unfolds, we need look no further than this week's Torah portion, which was Beha'alotcha, which ended on Shabbat yesterday, for divine guidance in this exact moment. And as a side note, this is where I read about the silver trumpets. For more than 3,000 years, every time Jews removed the Torah from the Ark in synagogues across the globe, we have recited the same verses taken from this week's portion, words that Moshe Rabbeinu himself declared as the Israelites prepared for battle. Vayehi ben Soa ha'aron vayomer Moshe Kuma Adonai V'yafutzu oivecha V'yanusu misanecha mipanecha Ki mitzion tetzei Torah Ki mitzion tetzei Torah Udevar Adonai mi Yerushalayim. Quote, when the ark was set forth, Moses would say, rise up, O Lord, let your enemies be scattered. Let those who hate you Flee before your face, for the Torah shall go forth from Zion, and the word of God from Jerusalem. End quote. And if you don't know where that's from, it's in the book of Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 10, verses 35 and 36. But there are 85 letters that shook that world. These verses, which contain 85 letters in total, teach that the Jewish way of waging war, especially both physically and spiritually, is by placing the Torah front and center. When the Israelites went to war, the Ark of the Covenant did not hide in the rear with the supply wagons. It was advanced to the front of the formation, leading the charge into battle. Picture it. Ancient warriors gripping bronze swords, following a golden box containing stone tablets toward enemies who outnumbered them, outarmed them, and wanted them, the Jews, annihilated. The parallel to today's headlines is breathtaking. A small Jewish state about the size of New Jersey, armed with ancient promises and modern precision, striking at nuclear facilities while the world watches in stunned silence. However, these timeless verses contain several characteristics that make them even more powerful. First, they stand completely alone in the Torah scroll, positioned between two inverted Hebrew nuns. That's the letter in the Hebrew alphabet, equivalent to the English N. Nuns. Letters that appear nowhere else in the Torah because they're inverted. The 12th century commentator Rashi tells us that these mysterious symbols indicate that the passage isn't just noteworthy, but actually constitutes an entire book of the Torah unto itself. That means, according to this opinion, there are 7 and not 5 books of the Torah. For this reason, the Talmud teaches that if a Torah scroll is burned, torn, or damaged beyond recognition, if just 85 letters remain intact, the length of this passage, then the entire scroll retains its sacred power and can therefore be salvaged. In other words, these 85 letters of Moses' battle cry contain the essence of the Torah, the spiritual DNA of Jewish survival. The message resonates across the centuries. Jews don't retreat from their spiritual foundations during wartime. They lean into the divine protection. The Torah demands spiritual warfare. And this might be interesting for a lot of Jews that I've heard that say, I'm not spiritual. But the Torah portion is not finished delivering its prophetic punch. God commands Moses to forge 2 silver trumpets. Katzotzrot. Chatzotzrot. Let me try it one more time. Again. Chatzotzrot. Yes. To use for summoning the nation and orchestrating military campaigns. Different battles require different sounds of the trumpet, the silver trumpets. Peaceful gatherings get straight trumpet blasts. But verse 10:9 says, it really should say, but chapter 10, verse 9 says, quote, when you go to war in your land against an adversary that oppresses you, you shall blow a teruah with the trumpets and be remembered before the Lord your God, and thus be saved from your enemies, end quote. And I do hope that Israel blew the silver trumpets before this war started. The teruah, that broken wailing sound we know from Rosh Hashanah, represents teshuvah, the soul's returning to God. Even as bombs fall and missiles fly, the Torah demands spiritual warfare alongside military action. Just as the verse says God will remember us, we too must remember that we are God's chosen people and that times of crisis afford us the opportunity to return to God's divine path. Tshuva. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem N. Schmearson, in the Chassid Discourse, shared that the Hebrew word for trumpet can be broken down into chatzi tzurot, which means half forms, which represents the fusion of divine power with human determination. When we blow the trumpet at times of war, we fuse ourselves with God's will and elicit his divine protection. Baruch Hashem. It's not a coincidence that the same week that Israel potentially triggers a regional conflagration, Jews worldwide read about Moses leading the Israelites through enemy territory with nothing but the God at the helm and unshakable faith, emunah. The same 85 letters that protected our ancestors from ancient adversaries now hover with Israel. Israeli pilots navigating over Iranian air forces. The verse that opens our Torah service each week is more than just beautiful liturgy. It's a war cry that has echoed through Masada, the Warsaw Ghetto, and now the Iranian skies in 2025. Moses' ancient rallying call reverberates today through Israeli command centers and Jewish hearts worldwide. As Iranian leaders contemplate retaliation and Israeli families huddle in shelters, those timeless verses stand as an eternal testament. The people who carry Torah at the front of their formation, who sound the broken trumpets of Tshuva even in battle, who remember God in their darkest hours. These people will not only survive, but leap, plunge, and charge forth with divine protection and success. And I want to thank this rabbi for his powerfully potent words, Rabbi Aryeh Kaltman. So for those who believe that we are chatzi tzorot, physical, the person you're looking at, the flesh, and divine spiritual sparks within, which we can all stir up if we so believe that we are spiritual beings. Let us stir up the flames of our God, the God of Israel, and ask him, by blowing the silver trumpets at the start of the battle, whatever your battle is, the silver trumpets need to be taken out of storage in every synagogue and sounded in the appropriate blasts, because there are several functions of the silver trumpets, not just the war sounding. There's other, like there's a trumpet sound for gathering all the people Israel. There's a silver sound trumpet for segregating the tribes and telling 600,000 people which tribes are going to advance first. You don't think they had a microphone back there at Mount Sinai and said, "Hey, you over there"? No, the silver trumpet sounds told the people what needed to be done. And we seem to have lost that part of our Torah. So let's revive, make teshuvah, and obey the God of Israel, and Israel will have the victory. So let's practice together as I play this Psalm 94, which is a battle cry. Be in meditation when you hear the words from the Psalms put to the music that I wrote, and believe in the God of Israel. Thank you for listening, and may Israel be at peace when we pray Bo Mashiach.
Elohim, to whom vengeance belongs. O El, to whom vengeance belongs. Shine forth, lift yourself up, O Shofet of the earth. Render punishment to the proud. How long shall the wicked, how long shall the wicked triumph? How long shall they utter and speak in arrogance? And all the workers boast in themselves. They break in pieces your people and afflict your heritage. They slay the widow and the ger and murder the fatherless. Yet they say, I shall not see, neither shall the Elohim of Yaakov regard it. Understand, you senseless among the people, and you fools, when will you be wise? He that planteth the ear, shall he not hear? He that formed the eye, shall he not see? He that chastises the nation, shall he not correct? He that teaches man that, shall he not know? Adonai knows the thoughts of man, that they are worthless. Blessed is the man whom you chasten, O Yah, and whom you teach out of your Torah, that you may give him rest from the days of adversity, until the pit is dug for the wicked. For Adonai will not cast off his people, neither will he forsake his inheritance. But Mishpat shall return to Tzedakah, and all the Sadiq and Lev shall follow it. Who will rise up for me against the evildoers? Or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? Unless Adonai had been my helper, my being had almost lived without answers. When I said my foot slipped, your rachamim, O Adonai, holds me up. When anxious thoughts are within me, your comforts delighted my being. Shall the seed of iniquity have chavurah with you? they who framed evil by its decree. They gather themselves together against the being of Sadiqim and condemn the innocent dumb. But Adonai is my refuge, and my Elohim is the rock of my refuge, and he shall bring upon them their own iniquity, and shall cut them off in their own wickedness. Yes, Adonai